Pulse. Welcome UNLV students to the Shotokan Karate Studies program. By now you should know you've already warmed up, you've gotten the warm-up that you feel your body needs, you're adequate for starting the program this morning. So let's go ahead and get started with our typical, quick, general warm-up. Ready? And Hajime. Ichi. Ni. San. Yon. Go. All right, warmed up good there. Let's turn to the side, bring our heels to our glutes. Good, all right. Let's go ahead and do some high knees as well. Get my workout recorded, here we go. High knees. You can do this slow, just like I'm doing. Again, just bringing your knees up. You can do it fast if you feel like kind of bouncing a little bit, working your calves a little bit. Or if you want to go slow, go slow. And yame. All right, let's come up on our toes, stretching out our calves. And yame. Very good. All right, let's go ahead and do some body hip twists. And yame. Good. Arm up, across the side, stretching out our shoulder. Good, other side. Again, don't hold these too long. Just doing dynamic stretches here. Nothing too static, nothing being held for too long. Switching over. Other side. Good. Feet just widen shoulder width. Go down, touch the floor. Go to the right. Back to center. Go to the left. Back to center. All right, make that a little wider. We're gonna go down to the right, turning up on our left heel, stretching out our hamstring. Good, now we're gonna turn to the left in a long front stance. Pushing on the quad here, pushing the knee over the toe. And down to a runner stand, or a runner stretch. Good. Back up. All right, we're gonna do everything to the other side now. Leaning to the left onto the right heel. Toes pointed up. Stretching out your hamstring. All right, let's rotate that all the way around. Good front stance, long, deep, pushing on the quad, pushing the knee out over the toe, getting a good stretch. Transition that into a runner stretch. And come back to center, come back standing. Good. Turn around, fix your gi. Back to me. Yoi. Subirachi. Free. Yoi. Seiza. Dojo-kun. 一つ、人格完成に人を盛ること。一つ、誠の道を守ること。一つと力の精神を養うこと。一つ、礼儀を重んずること。一つ、景気の湯を戒めること。Ready? That's it. よい。しばらくち。Ready? よい。So today's class is a beginner class, and what we're going to cover today is Shuto Uke. Alright, Shuto Uke is a knife hand block, but Shuto Uke can also be a strike. It can also be a takedown. So there's several things that can be learned with this one technique, but I get a lot of questions on it, and I get a lot of students that make mistakes when they're performing it. A lot of students just have trouble with hand positioning and things like that, so I really want to kind of dive into it and then give you some drills to work on as well today so that you can kind of grasp the concept of Shuto Uke a little bit better than what's out there already. Okay, so again, Shuto Uke is a knife hand block, which means you're using this portion of your hand as a block. Okay, whenever we're standing here in Shizentai, all right, so this is a good place to start. Just normal position, feet shoulder width apart. As you stand here, you take your hands out in front of you just like this. Okay, one hand you're going to take your left and bring it up to your ear. The other hand is going to be used to basically mark distance, right? We've said this several times in the past where you kind of use your other hand to mark your target. This can be used for several things. This can be used to parry, all right? This can be used to kind of wave off things that are coming in, right, and attack. You can kind of use it to wave off an attack. But again, you can use it for distance. You can use it to grab, all right? So you can use it to grab an opponent, their gi, their clothing, their arm, anything like that. So this other hand should be used as a distance marker, or again, to parry, or as something to reach out and grab. Your other hand, like I said, comes up here to the side of your face, just about here. So your fingertip, your middle finger, about touching the top of your ear. Now your face is different than mine, your ear position is different than mine, but again, something like this is about where you should be. All right, so you're going to now take this hand and bring it out, at the same time pulling your hikite hand, or your right hand, to your chest. All right, notice now, right, we're not doing anything with our feet here. I just want you to get down this top portion. Okay, so again, as your hands are out in front, your right hand is going to stay, your left hand is coming up to the side of your face, and then out and down. Now, notice from the belt up, a couple of things are happening at this point, right? Number one, my elbow is pointing down, so don't point your elbow out to the side. Okay, this is not Shuto Uke. This is also not Shuto Uke, so don't hold your hand out straight. Your elbow should be pointing down to the floor. And when you think about all of our blocks in Shotokan karate, Uchi Uke, your elbow is pointing down. Soto Ryuke, your elbow is pointing down. All right. So again, these blocks that are here, all right, and this triangle or this rectangle are elbow pointing down. Okay, so that's one. Your elbow should be pointing down. Your hand here, again, using that knife hand, should be about level. If you take your middle finger, your tallest finger, it should be about level with your shoulder. All right, so about shoulder height. I'll turn this way just so you can see that. Again, it's about shoulder height. Okay, so as long as that elbow is pointing down, your middle finger is about shoulder height, you've pretty much got this block. All right, now the hand turn is something that I will leave up to your discretion. All right, it can be used for several things. Like I said, it depends on where the block is occurring. All All right, if the block is here, or out to the side further, or more out, way out to the side, right? And eventually it can be used to grab. So using this portion of the hand is going to depend on where and what you're blocking exactly. Like I said, this can also be used as a strike, but we'll get there. Okay, so again, this is what we're looking for. My feet are again shoulder width apart. We're not looking at doing anything with our lower body at this point, but my upper body, you will notice, has transitioned into a 45-degree angle. Not a full 90, so I'm not changing to this. I'm about here. All right, so if this is 90, we're about at a 45. This should be your Shuto. Your other hand, your hikite hand, is going to be about chest height. It doesn't come all the way to your side like with a lot of our techniques or our punches, right? Where typically our hand rests just above our belt or right around our waist area here, but it's right here, right about your sternum. Okay, some people might go a little bit lower, but I suggest right here under your chest, right here at your sternum, is where I typically keep my hand. Okay, this is your Shuto. Now, if we face forward with it and just change, all right, so now we're going to go to the right. So this hand goes out to point, and again, check range of your target. Your hikite hand comes up to the side of your face, as we discussed before, and change. All right, your left hand now becomes the hikite hand, which again comes right here to about your sternum. You're at about a 45-degree angle with your body, and your hand, again, like we said, elbows pointing down, hand or your fingers are about shoulder height. Okay, that is what your Shuto should look like. Okay, so again, let's practice this a couple times standing in Shizentai. All right, I'm going to do it forward, and then I'm going to turn to the side. So we'll give you 10 forward, and we'll give you 10 to the side. Again, I want you to kind of see what this looks like without any foot movement, without any stance in particular, but just standing here focusing on upper body movement. All right, so hands out, ready, each, ni, son, yum, go, rope, sit, hutch, cue, ju, ay. Yeah, man. Very good. Hopefully you feel comfortable with that. All right, let's turn to the side, and I'm going to slow it down just a little bit for us. That might have been a little fast, so I don't want to turn directly to the side. I still want you to be able to see my body position for a lot of this. So I'm just going to turn maybe to about here. All right, hands out in front. Ready? Again, feet should be just about shoulder width apart. If you want to go a little bit wider, that's perfectly fine. But again, we're not too concerned about our feet because we're not getting into a stance. Hands out in front. Ready? Each. Ni, son, yum, go, rock, sich, hutch, cue, ju, ay. Alright? Okay, very good. So that's the top portion for our body. Now, typically when Shuto is performed in a back stance. I would say 90% of the time, maybe more, you're going to be in a back stance. So let's talk about back stance. What is back stance? Back stance is kukutsu dachi, right? All right. Dachi meaning stance. Kukutsu is to move back. So this would be your back stance. About 70% of your weight being on your back foot. If you were to draw a line straight down from your groin to the floor, you're going to have a longer distance from your hand to your front toes as opposed to your back, all right? Because most of your weight is sitting on your back leg. This can be compared to sitting on a stool, right? Like a milking stool, where you're just resting one butt cheek on that stool. All right, let me turn this way. Again, just kind of resting that cheek on a stool, okay? Just like this would be your typical back stance. All right, this class isn't about back stance, but you should know back stance at this point. Okay, if you stand in back stance for a long period of time, your quad is going to start getting sore. You're going to start feeling it in your quad because this is supporting most of your weight. You should be able to lift your front foot easily. All right, your back foot you can't lift easily because you have to shift your weight to the front. Right, But what this does, this back stance does, is give you the ability to launch yourself forward, okay? Because a lot of your weight is here. So you're easily able to launch and turn yourself quickly, all right? That's not what we're talking about though. So your feet should be 90 degrees, right? If I take this, my front foot, and bring it back and put my heels together, this should be a 90-degree angle. As I slowly move this foot out, I'm in a back stance. Your knee should be tracking, again, just over your toes. It should be here, not here, all right? So in some competitions, like WKF, you might see some more squared off Kikutsudachi back stances because they tend to want this to be very square. Everything that you're doing should look very square. So sometimes that knee will be kind of pointing out like this, all right? But for practical purposes, this is a better stance. This is going to put a lot more pressure on your knee, a lot more pressure on your quad. You're going to feel it if you try to do this, and you can do that now. You're going to feel this. So from this to pushing it out, check that, and you'll feel a major difference in how your knee feels, number one. Number two, how your calf and shin feel as well. You'll kind of feel that change, as opposed to this, your calf and shin become a little bit more relaxed, all right? The other thing is to make sure this back foot doesn't point out, so don't do this. Number one, you saw what just happened. I automatically was off balance, right? So this is kind of a more weakened stance once this foot starts to turn out or track away from that 90 degrees, all right? And it's also a different stance, right? This is more of an open stance, like a shikodachi almost. If this foot were turned in a little bit, right? This is more of a shikodachi stance. So this foot should be pointing straight, this foot should be 90 degrees to it. And again, pretend that you're kind of resting that butt cheek on a stool, right? This should be your stance. Shuto comes from here. Again, your hand, your hikite hand right about your sternum, all right? Your other hand out, just like I said before, no difference. Your middle finger, your tallest finger should be about shoulder height, your elbow should be pointing down, okay? Again, not out to the side like this, and don't hold your hand out like this, okay? Point that elbow down, all right? The hand should face in as much as possible, right? Sometimes you will get this, but for the most part, that hand is still facing this direction, okay? It's not facing out, it's not facing forward, and it's not facing this way. If you face it forward, right, your elbow tends to track out. So watch my elbow here. If I just turn my hand, my elbow tends to track out. So keep your hand facing in. Again, this is where the block is happening with this portion of your arm, this portion of your hand, all right? So this would be your Shuto. All right? So we're going to try and walk in this stance a couple of times. All right, first let's just walk in the stance, okay, so we can kind of get the feel for it, because this is a two-syllable technique, all right, which means it happens in two. So you come up, 1, 2 is the execution. There's a preparation, 1, 2 is the execution. Okay, again, what you're doing with your with the bottom half of your body is bringing this back foot to your front foot, knees stay bent, and track out, turning, executing the Shuto. All right, let me back up a little bit. All right, again, your feet come together, so your back foot comes to your front, tracking, marking your target, hand goes up, sorry, it's this direction, then you step out, and Shuto. Again, this foot tracking straight 90 degrees. All right, and that's something that I struggle with as well, trying to get that foot to stay at 90 degrees, because a lot of times when you're moving in this stance, for instance, at the end of hand Shodan, in the middle of hand Nidan, right, and you'll get into Shuto in back stance and several other katas down the line, but right now you're probably focused on hand Shodan and hand Nidan. So as you make the turn, right, from here, from your hand Shodan, you're turning 1,
A lot of people tend to leave that foot tracking out a little bit here. So just make sure when you do that turn, this foot is tracking to 90, then you're turning to here, turning back this direction. Again, check that foot, and then you move to that direction. All right, to your corners. But again, these are things that you have to try to fix now, fix early. As a beginner student, these are things that you should be working on and kind of tracking. Are your feet moving properly whenever you're moving to these particular stances? All right, and at the same time, you're controlling your upper body to do something completely different, which is the Shutokan. All right, so let's move towards one another here. I'm gonna move straight to you. Yeah, let's move straight to you. Trying to determine if I want to actually do a turn, so a mawate, where you would bring your feet together here and then turn back the other direction. Let's do that as well. All right, let's do that as well. I want to do that turn because that turn kind of symbolizes and feels this almost the same as the end of hand Shotokan and the middle of hand Nidan, right? Because at hand Nidan we do the same thing. After our nukete, we execute 4 Shutokes exactly the same as the end of hand Shotokan. All right, so I'm going to move towards you. All right, you're going to move towards me. Let's do Shutokan. So I want you to start here, your feet together, hands out in front. You choose which direction you want to go first, Shutokan, and we're going to step out into that stance and that technique, that Kion technique. Ready? And Hajime. Okay, check your stance. Are your feet where they should be? Are you at a 90 degree? If you pull this foot to your heel, 90 degrees, good. Get your foot back out. Make sure your hands are in the proper position. Your right or left hand, whatever the hikite hand is right here at your sternum. Your other hand, the height of your middle finger matches about your shoulder and your elbows pointed down. Let's move forward. Ready? Each. Knee. Some. Shi. Wate. Each. Knee. Some. Young. Wate. Yame. All right, very good. So that's a good drill for you to work through. All right, walk in this stance. Do this stance and throw that Shutokan as often as possible. Because again, like I said, you do this in hand Shotokan, you do it in hand Nidan. Hand Sandan you do not. Hand Yandan you do not. I know when you get into kind of like Basadai, Kankudai, Sanshin, there's a couple that you're going to use Shutokan. All right, and Shutokan is a great way to back off your opponent. And like I said at the beginning of class, this can be a block, this can be a strike, and this can be a throw. So it's very beneficial for you to learn it and learn it properly. All right, and I'll show you when we get closer to the end of class the differences in the block, the strike, and the throw, so that you can kind of see what I'm talking about there. All right. Let's go ahead and get into a back stance. You can choose left or right. We're going to change it up after we do this drill anyway. I want you to just work on one hand. All right, don't worry about your hikite hand. Bring one hand up and out. Up. So turn your body and out. Turn, out. 1, 2. Okay, make sure you're in a good stance. All right, I'm going to count these out for us. So we would typically be here. So one hand, this hand is going to be up by your ear. Ready? Each. Knee. Some. Young. Go. Rope. Cinch. Punch. Cute. Good. Change sides. Okay. Again, make sure you're in a good stance. Feel good about your back stance. Front foot is facing forward. Back foot is 90 degrees off of that. Your heels should be in line. If you just pull one back, it should meet up with the other. Okay? Ready? Facing forward as much as possible with your body. Turning at the same time that you execute the block or the strike. Okay? And 45 degrees. Okay? Ready? Do whatever you want with your other hand. Ich. Ni. Some. Yum. Go. Rope. Sich. Hunch. Chew. Chew. And yame. Very good. All right. So again, this is a good drill that you can use to break down the technique. Okay, I'm going to turn this way just a little bit. Change your stance. Okay, work on the back hand. Okay, so now we're working on the hikite hand. I don't want you to worry about your front hand. Leave it where it is. Back hand is out. Your body faces forward, and bring in your hikite hand. Ready? Ich. Ni. Some. Yum. Rope. Sich. Hunch. Chew. Chew. Ay. Good. I believe I missed number 5. Let's go ahead and change. Okay. I'm going to face you again this time. Change your stance. All right. So I'm going to go this direction here. So this is a right kukutsudachi, back stance. My right foot is forward. Left hand is out in front. Body is turned towards your opponent. Ready? Ich. Ni. Some. Yum. Go. Rope. Sich. Hunch. Chew. Chew. Good. All right, switch stance. Now we'll put the two together. Okay, put the two together. Back stance. Feel good about it. Okay, lock it in. Here's your starting position. 1, go back to your starting position. 2, go back to your starting position. Okay, ready? Ich. Ni. Some. Yum. Go. Rope. Sich. Hunch. Chew. Chew. Switch your stance. Good. Again, lock it in. Feel good about your back stance. This class isn't as much about back stance as it is about the technique, so focus on the technique. Okay? Starting position, and ich. Ni. Some. Yum. Go. Rope. Sich. Hunch. Chew. Chew. Okay. All right, very good. Again, another good drill to go back to. All right. This entire class is a great class to come back to if you're having difficulty with Shutokan or you just need work on Shutokan. Come back to it. Break it down to its beginnings. Start in Shizentai. Break it down. Get into your stance. Walk your stance. Okay? Then break down the Shuto. Put it together. Okay? Change sides with it. Alright? Now, let's change sides. Okay? So, we're going to start here. The left Shuto or left kukutsudachi back stance. Shuto-uke. We're going to switch. Okay? This should look just like this. your your back foot should still land properly so that it's 90 degrees. Again, if you drag your front foot straight back, your heels should meet. You should be at that 90-degree angle. The second thing is you don't want to bounce. All right? Like I said, like I always say with Shuto or with Shotokan karate, we're not bouncing. All right? We're staying very affixed to the ground, solid and low. Don't do that. Okay? You can also bring your foot back and go forward, okay? But don't stand up. Okay? Stay low. You're gonna bring it back this way. That's fine too. All right? Or you can step forward and go back into it. All right? But again, feet placement is very important. That's the key factor here, is keeping that 90 degrees with the feet, okay? Your back stance, all right? And not letting that back foot taper off, go out to the side so much, right? Don't let it do this. As much as possible, dial that back so that it's 90 degrees. And work on it, all right? Because it does become a problem. Okay, so really work on this and really try to hone this to make sure that that foot isn't shifting back too much. All right, try to stay 90 as much as possible. All right, makes your Shutoke look much better. Makes your Kakutsudachi look much better. All right, you look like more of a professional, a student who knows what they're doing. Okay, so let's try this switch. So we're starting left, Shutoke. Go ahead and get into position, and we're just switching left and right. Your decision whether you go forward or back. Ready? Each, knee, son, young, rook, sich, hutch, cue, ju, hey. Yeah, man. Good. Okay, again, these are just little things, little drills that you can run on your own to make sure what you're doing is correct. And you know when you're doing it wrong, right? If you come to here and you're going up and down, you're doing it wrong. If you go here and you go up and down, your foot's this direction, like mine is now, you're doing it wrong, right? Make sure that it's back. It might be easier to come back instead of moving forward, to move back and then do your shift. And I only say that because when you walk forward in this stance, that's what you're doing. Your feet come together in the front, and then your front foot moves forward. Okay? To settle into position. Again, it's your choice. All right, I don't want to force you into one or the other, but I'm telling you the two options, and the difference is whether you're moving forward or back, right? So if you're here and you're stepping back like I was doing, that's typically you moving backward, right? You can go to here and then to here, feet come together and stepping back, right? As opposed to moving forward like I just did, to then move forward, 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 right? So you're not going to move back to then move forward. You're not really shifting here. So it doesn't really matter as much when you're standing in place as it does when you're moving forward or moving backward. All right, so just take that into consideration whenever you're doing these drills. Okay? All right, let's talk about how Shutouke is Shutouke, Shutouchi, and a throw. Right? So a block, a strike, and a throw. Okay, Shutouke, whenever you do it in kata, and you've probably heard me talk about this before, especially if you've been through the hand Shodan bunkai, right? Typically I show this as a block. So someone is throwing a punch, and you step to create distance, number one, so you could be stepping back, you see that punch coming, step back into your Shutouke to block it. Then grab it. Grab that arm, control the arm. Now step forward, staying here in Shuto, or staying here in Kakutsudachi. Arm goes up, executing the strike, to the neck. All right, so again, as your opponent, if I'm throwing this punch, it's blocked, you're then controlling it, stepping in, and the other Shuto goes there. So that Shuto is a block and a strike. Okay, it's done twice, but the first time it's a block, the second time it's a strike. And when you think about that for hand Shodan, that's basically what I'm telling you the bunkai is. You see one opponent coming, you're blocking, controlling, striking. Turn, you see another opponent coming, block, control, strike. All right? So, that's how it can become both. All right? Your target hand, right, that I say marking your target. Right, so as your opponent is, maybe they're throwing a left, you're parrying it, throwing this hand out, okay, to parry, to as you bring it up, okay, you're able to then grab and strike. That's all in one motion. Okay, so that's Shuto one time. All right, again, and one time, even as you move back, right, it can be a block, parry, strike. It can be a move forward as you block it, grab it, as you see it coming, parry it out to the side, grab it to control it, move forward, move towards them for that strike. Again, as the opponent, my left is coming in, it's parried, control, and then you're coming in with the strike. All right, that's one Shuto instead of two. Okay, so instead of blocking, controlling, stepping, you are parrying, controlling, striking. All right, that's another thing. So it can also be used as a throw. All right, so let's say you have your opponent that they have thrown this punch, you've blocked it, and now you're going to step behind them and throw. Do you see the hand movement? It's still the same. It's still that Shuto hand movement. So when that right punch is coming, you're stepping in to block it, control, okay, moving forward, dropping them across your leg. Again, this is why you use a back stance, because your leg is much further extended out in front of you. Your back foot is still in that 90 degree. You still have a very stable base here. You're controlling that right hand as you come across their head to put them on the floor across this leg. Okay, same thing with the left, right? So you can do it with the left as well. So as you see that punch coming from the left, like I always say, more often than not it's going to come from the right, but let's say it comes from the left. Block it, control, step, dump the opponent across this leg. All right, that's why you do it in both directions for hand Shodan and hand Nidan. Right, from the punch here, we turn, you're blocking a right, controlling it, striking. Then you're blocking a left, controlling it, striking. Okay, you do the exact same thing in hand Nidan at the middle portion of the kata. So right after the nukete, you're turning, strike or blocking that right punch, striking. Turn, blocking the left punch, controlling, striking. All right. So it's the same thing for both kata. Okay, but you are actually using Shuto in the two different ways it was designed to be used, which is a block and then a strike. All right. So think about that. Think about the other ways you can use Shuto again as a throw. It's a great way to step in. All right, to cut and then use it as a throw. All right, so as that punch or that strike is coming in, you can deflect it this way, control the arm, step behind, and dump them right in front of you. So again, Shuto can be used a lot of different ways. It's very versatile in its technique and its movement. It really depends on how you adjust your lower body and what stance you decide to move in onto your opponent with. And if you have an opponent to work with, try it. Try a couple different ways. When that punch is coming, okay, that right punch is coming straight in, you can again parry, this is this hand, parry it, control it, stepping behind, across their front, across their chest, across their face, grab a hold of their face even, dump them across this leg, right? As you see it coming, 1, 2, grab, strike, dump. All right, again, at that right punch is coming in, you see it coming, you're going to parry it, grab it, stepping behind, grab and dump. All right? So again, the Shuto, and if you just break it down, I'm not going to tell you what I'm doing, but if you just look at the Shuto, my hikite hand is right here at my sternum. My blocking hand is right about here, shoulder, elbow pointed down. But that's the exact same technique that I just used. When that right punch is coming, I'm parrying, grabbing, striking to dump them across my leg. You're just extending it. You're just moving it out a little bit further. All right. Again, when it's coming in and you're stepping to block it, control it, and then striking that neck right against that carotid. You blocked it. You're controlling it. Now this hand comes up. Power, drive, striking that carotid. Okay. It's a very versatile technique, and I challenge you to use it as often as you can when you have an opponent to work with, when you have a partner to work with. All right, try it on one another, because again, it helps you create distance. When that punch is coming, I'm not stepping towards it into a front stance. Right, when that punch is coming, I'm stepping back and creating distance and a solid platform, a solid base to work from, to block, control. Right? There's a couple of different ways and a couple of different things you can do there. Once you've blocked that strike, you can control it this way. Okay? You've blocked that strike. You can then control it this way, pulling your opponent to you and dumping. All right? So again, a very versatile technique, and I do challenge you to use it as often as possible. Try it with your partner if you have one available. You can use it with your imagination as well. Right? Just as a solo kumite. As a solo karateka, your opponent is coming to you. You see that right hand coming, blocking, controlling, grabbing to pull, step, dump, right? If you use your mind, you can get very creative with this as well. You don't have to have an opponent. You don't have to have a partner to get through this and understand how it can work physically, right? And how it will work physically when you have someone in front of you to work with, all right? So again, these are the things I want you to take away from Shuto, besides the stance, right? This hand, your front hand, your blocking hand, elbow down, hand about shoulder, fingertips about shoulder height. Don't kick your elbow out. Don't hold your hand out like a police officer directing traffic, okay? Hold it here. Your hikite hand is not down here by your belt. Your hikite hand, and it's not a fist, it is flat. And it is, again, typically right here about your sternum, just below your chest. All right, just below where you feel the bone go away is about where your hand is going to be. And it might be pulled back a little bit further to directly under your pec, and that's fine. Right? It just depends on the deflection and how much energy you're pulling in here. All right, so there's not really, you can't go too wrong with that hikite hand as long as it's somewhere in here. Okay, but hopefully I've given you plenty of drills to work with in order to really try to perfect and kind of get this and master this Shuto as you continue your beginner journey into martial arts, because again, with Shotokan karate, this Shuto is very important, again, very versatile, and you'll use it in a lot of kata, so you should get used to it and you should get good at it, because if you get good at it, it looks really good in kata, right? If you're able to really work your hips and throw that, okay? All right, it's very important. Again, a lot of hip drive as you throw it out there, move. There's a lot of power with it, okay? So, let's come back to center of class. Yoi. Subidachi. Right. Yoi. Seiza. All right. Today's meditation, I want you to go through all three forms of Shuto that we discussed: the block, the strike, and the throw. Think about how you can deploy each one against an opponent throwing a right punch. Okay, a punch coming from the right, that haymaker, that straight punch, whatever it happens to be, that 90% of people are going to throw. I want you to imagine that, and then pick up on the block, the strike, and the throw. Like so. Mokusuyame, Sensen Yuri. Tate. Yo. Subirach, Yuri. Yo. Os. Alright, students, thank you for joining me for this class, this key home class where we kind of focus on Shuto. Great class to come back to if you need a refresher and you're trying to master this technique, especially if you receive some feedback that maybe isn't what you're expecting as far as Shuto is concerned. A great class to come back to try to correct small mistakes. All right, we'll see you in the next class. Os.